I would consider you, based on all my experiences with you, aside from being impossibly handsome, I would consider you to be an actor's producer, a performer's producer, because you've been an actor and a performer, and so I know you work well with them, and you're very hands-on in general. Like I know, like I've seen you with the crew, and you bro out with the crew, and everyone's loves you. No one but at the same time, like you're not one of those producers who's very standoffish, and I raise the money and I will piece it together, and then now I'm going to sit there and be the very fancy person on set.
No, I'm a blue-collar producer. Yeah. I'm a son of a New York City fireman. I wanted to be an actor. I wasn't a very good actor. And then I discovered producing. And thankfully, I discovered producing, and producing I was somewhat good at, and I was able to make a career. But, filmmaking is about storytelling. You can have the most beautiful sets or the best actor in the world, but if the story inherently itself doesn't captivate people or isn't true, to whatever theme or thematic piece, concepts it's trying to prove or disprove, it fails. So ultimately, you worry about the look and the cinematography and the costumes and the makeup and everything. But there's been many movies, many great little movies that have been made, and people watch them and rewatch them because it's the storytelling that works. So, in this festival and many other festivals are great examples of that. Films will, break out. I remember I was mentioning a friend of mine has a movie coming out who I'm working with, The Witch, and he was finishing that while I was making with it. They made it for very little money. And, it got picked up, and Universal's taking it out, and, Swingers is another example. We could go on and on of filmmakers who got this because they were great storytellers. And ultimately, that's the thing. You and I have worked at a television network where, a big concept of it was to kind of have the average person tell the story. And with all due respect, that didn't quite work because the average person generally isn't a great storyteller when you give them a camera. That's where the genius is. And even those geniuses, those Terry Gilliams, Billy Friedkins, Oliver Stone, some of the great filmmakers of our times, they've made some movies that aren't so great. Nobody bats 1,000, you know what I mean? I don't think any good filmmaker or any good storyteller sets out to do it badly, but it's so difficult. It is like catching lightning in a bottle in a sense, it's not so easy. And some people get fixated on the kind of visuals of it. You could look at a Michael Bay type of film and say, maybe storytelling is not its strength, but from a visual standpoint, it's so captivating or it's such a fun ride, And conversely, you could look at, Adam McGoyam is a perfect example, a Canadian filmmaker who, makes much more intimate movies that are really kind of story-driven. And, it's just kind of figuring out when you set out to make a film, like, what is the film you want to make? What's important? What's important for that film? And then really being disciplined and staying with that and allowing the kind of all the people that come into that process to, empowering those people to bring what they bring. And I think, if anything, I'd like to think as a producer, I hopefully succeed at allowing those that I collaborate with to excel. I look back over my career, and I was thinking about it early today, and you think about the mistakes you made, or sometimes even working with Terry, he was terribly challenging, And there were times where I think, I could have handled that differently, or maybe I did a movie with Billy Friedkin, another very senior kind of, you call, challenging filmmaker, and we had our ups and downs. Billy was a bit of a tyrant. I'm certainly not speaking out of school by saying that, but again, I learned. Last year I had a film in the festival that Andrew Newell directed. Had a great collaboration with Andrew. I'm doing another movie right now with him. We're in the process of putting it together. So, it's about building those partnerships with other people that you work well together with, As I was saying, off camera, it becomes a small community, I think, after a while when you work. People work with, like Clint Eastwood is famous for having the same team, and it's no mystery why he has the same team. He's found good people that work for him and work with him, and then you develop a shorthand. When you come, and that's why coming back here for my second film in Toronto is a lot easier. And as a kind of blue-collar, nuts and bolts filmmaker, the guy that often gets hired to go and make the movie, Like I made 7 movies in Romania. I didn't know, I couldn't throw
You
it.
have made 7 movies in Romania.
7 movies in Romania.
You're like the David Hasselhoff of Romania. Are you
Yeah.
just famous when you get there, right off the, the plane?
They treat me well. But my point is, I couldn't have thrown a dart and hit Romania before I went there the first time and known where it was on a map. But it was more that you learn about a place. I've done 2 movies in Morocco now, and now I get a lot of calls to go do movies in Morocco, you know, and now I've done, I think, 3 movies in Canada. So, you know, once people are always like actors, you know, you hire Tom Cruise to do an action movie, or, you know, people are always looking to hire the safe hire in this business. And having done a fair bit of international producing, you know, I find myself very rarely working in LA because I'm often on a short list of somebody you send off to the armpit of the world to make a movie.
Well, that's a wonderful title to have.
Yes.
Be known as that guy.
Yeah, that guy, exactly. Yeah. Underfunded and overly ambitious is my expertise.
Yes, exactly.
In a very difficult place.
Just hand him a flak jacket. Yeah, he's good to go.